Hey everybody, I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope that you have had a wonderful week. For those of you who tune in every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here live on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live, welcome back. For those of you who are brand new to Mental Health Moment, we are here live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. And for those of you watching the replay on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page, be sure to like this page, share this video, and subscribe to the page. So, hey everybody, thanks so much for joining here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Let me know in the chat where you may be tuning in from today. For those of you who are brand new, I reside in the Tampa Bay area of Florida. Today, I am actually not in Vermont, beautiful Vermont, like I was a couple weeks ago in the beautiful fall of Vermont, but I'm in Orlando today, so not too far from home. But nonetheless, let me know again where you're tuning in from in the chat. And if you're new to Mental Health Moment is all about how do you work on becoming the best version of who you are so that you can show up powerfully for yourself and for the people around you. So we talk a lot about different mental wellness tips throughout Mental Health Moment. And you can always, if you miss any episodes, you can always catch the replay on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page. But hi, thanks for those who are starting to join here. Dr. Hammond here with your Mental Health Moment. Be sure to let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat, and hopefully I'll be able to see the chat soon. Sometimes the comments just come in a little bit later, but it's all good. Okay, so before we get started today on today's mental health moment, I did want to make a quick announcement that on October 24th in Atlanta, all-day event, I'll be hosting my Growth Mindset and Self-Care Summit. This year it is in person in Atlanta. Super excited to meet some of you there. You do need to register, though, for the event. You can go to mindsettrainingsummit.com. So again, mindsettrainingsummit.com. Also, hopefully you can see the QR code, which is a little bit new feature here on the screen. You can also take a picture or click on that QR code as well and register. Be sure to use BWE100 for $100 off for this BW family here. And again, I'm gonna put it in the chat really quick. It's mindsettrainingsummit.com. I'm super excited again to see some of you there and meet some of you in person, especially those of you that I've seen come back just week after week for like a long time, for years and years. But again, if you have any questions, you can always reach out. The website mindsettrainingsummit.com has more information. If you have questions, or you can always just shoot me a DM on Dr. Nikisha Hammond. Happy to answer any questions you have about that. Okay, so today's mental health moment. A lot of times, actually, on mental health moment, we talk a lot, I feel like, about self-care, taking care of ourselves, which is highly important, of course. But today's mental health moment, I wanted to take a step back because what I have been seeing time and time again, what I've been asked on numerous podcasts are, how do you know, right? Like, how do you know when you're burnt out, or how do you know when you need that break, right? So, which is a really great question, because one of the things I'm a huge fan of for all of us is to really get to know yourself and have the self-awareness that you need to make those decisions about your mental health, right? And your wellness. So today I want to talk to you about 3 signs that you can look for to know if you need an emotional rest day. And the reason why I say emotional rest day is because a lot of times we think of physical rest, which is extremely important, of course, right? We have to rest our bodies at some point, but there's also like an emotional fatigue that we can get into sometimes, just feeling very emotionally out of sorts, right? And sometimes our emotions kind of need a break too. So let me share with you some signs today. And thanks for those who are still starting to join here. Let me know in the comments here where you're tuning in from. Hopefully I will see my comments at some point. What happens is, I don't know why, but certain weeks. Oh, there it is. Okay. I was just gonna say certain weeks the comments just take time. I love to see your comments and where you guys are tuning in from, by the way. But certain weeks it just, I don't know, it takes longer to get over to me for some reason. But I see some of your comments starting to trickle in. So good evening from Boston. Welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for tuning back in. So if you're just tuning in today, we're talking about 3 signs to look for when you know you might need an emotional rest day. Okay, so the first thing to think about is your mood. So are you more irritable than usual? Like, meaning just little things are starting to aggravate you more. You're starting to feel a lot more irritable with things going on around you, different areas of your life. You don't feel yourself, if you will, especially if that's out of your norm to feel that way. Yep, someone said fatigue and irritability. Yes, for sure. Atlanta's in the house, welcome. Oklahoma's in the house, welcome, welcome. So one of the things to really look for though, when you're like, like when should I take a break, or when do I know? Some of us know, like we know, we're like, yep, we're at our max. But for some of us, it takes a little more thought to be intentional of really paying attention to our minds and our bodies. So, Massachusetts in the house, welcome. Detroit's in the house, welcome, welcome. So again, if you are in a place where you're just feeling like, and it's so interesting. I hear this often from people, like just feeling like they're snapping at everybody, or just feeling so irritable over like little small things, like things that when you take a step back after the event, you're like, I shouldn't have gotten so irritated by that. Like it was something small. It wasn't even something that you felt like you should have had that reaction to. That's one of the signs that you may need to be like, you know what? Maybe I need an emotional rest day. And we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. But again, just if you think of a little checklist, and by no means are these 3 things I'm going to mention today the only things. These are just some examples to be keeping in mind, because hopefully, my hope for many of us is that, again, we really practice our self-awareness of where we're at, because I'm a big burnout prevention specialist and talk to a lot of organizations and corporations about this very issue of how we don't hit burnout, which is preventable. But we got to rewind, right? We have to know what are we looking for? Like, let's not get to that point where we're falling apart and now nothing can get done. We can't help ourselves or anyone else around us. Like, let's try to think about first, okay, where where are we at, right, in this process? Where are our emotions at? Cleveland, Ohio's in the house, welcome. Houston, Texas, welcome. Boston, welcome, welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so the first, oh, there went my light. Okay, I think you guys can still see me. That was like okay, I'm in a hotel room, y'all, so just bear with me. I try to use light so you can actually see me, because the hotel rooms are so dark all the time. Let me see if this thing wants to come back on. Probably not. Okay, well, y'all can still see me. All good. But anyhow, the first thing again to think about is your level of irritability. Of course, it is completely normal for you to be aggravated, irritated, and have bad days and all that sort of thing. But when it really starts to become more of a pattern and you're noticing, okay, I'm really starting to get very irritated by little small things very often, and it's more getting chronic, then that's, maybe you want to check that box of like, okay, hold up. Maybe I do need an emotional rest day, right? New Jersey's in the house, welcome. Detroit's in the house. Someone else from Detroit's in the house, welcome, welcome. Okay, the second thing to think about, so that was the first one. The second thing to think about is your level of numbness. Meaning, are you at the point where you're becoming a little too detached? So one thing is like the irritability where you're like, I can't take this, right? Like you're almost like maybe tuning in too much to the things going on around you, and it's just aggravating and irritating you. But the second thing is taking like a step back too much, right? Where you are just very detached, very numb, maybe just going through the motions, right? Or things that used to make you happy, things that brought you joy, no longer bring you any joy, right? You're just very numb to things that are happening around you. And this could be in any area of your life, whether it's in work, whether it's in school, whether it's in family, whether it's in relationship, whether it's in friendships, whatever your responsibilities are, whomever is around you, is just asking yourself, are you getting to that place where you're so stressed out, you're so overwhelmed that now it's like, okay, you're just sort of going through the motion. You're checked out, you're physically there, but you're not emotionally there, right? So asking yourself that question as well. And hey, thanks for those who are starting to join here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. If you're just tuning in today, we're talking about 3 signs, 3 things to sort of look for when it may be time to be like, you know what? I need an emotional rest day for me, right? Like before you get like you hit that point where you're just over the top and you're like, okay, everything shuts down, nothing can get done because well, this is a spoiler alert. I was doing a podcast interview this week and we were just talking about that very thing, that when you don't take the break that your mind and body needs, your mind and or your body will take the break for you. Like that is just what happens. Like you will shut down at some point when we're not taking care of ourselves, right? So, yep, someone also said disassociation. Absolutely. Just that numbness, can't feel certain things. I mean, that comes from a lot of that's a whole nother mental health moment. That comes from a lot of different experiences and maybe how we relate to the world. But nonetheless, that's also a sign for you to be like, okay, I might need an emotional rest day. Okay. So that was the second thing. North Carolina's in the house. Welcome. And if you're just tuning in, let me know where you're tuning in from in the comments here. I reside in the Tampa Bay area, Florida. Today I'm in right up the street, Orlando, Florida. Um, welcome. Thanks so much for joining here. But nonetheless, that's a second thing, again, for you to be thinking about. And then the third thing is when you really have hit uh, kind of like a emotional overload, if you will. So maybe you're at the point where you're just feeling more sensitive to things that are happening in your own life or to, the world around you. Maybe you're crying more, maybe you're more sensitive to something someone has said, like you just feel so overwhelmed. Sometimes that actually happens when we get to that point where it starts affecting our eating patterns or our sleeping patterns because you're just so emotionally overwhelmed. You're in overload, right? So, and again, I let me put an asterisk on everything I'm saying today. I do also want to add that these are things to think about, how maybe I need an emotional rest day, but also these are also warning signs, especially when they're happening week after week or month after month, that you may need to see a mental health professional, or you may need to talk to your doctor, or whomever in your medical team, if you will, your professional team, because it may be something more serious, or not. I don't know. I'm not diagnosing anyone here, obviously. But I do want to kind of throw out that PSA, of course, always, that sometimes you do need to take the next step. And sometimes there's a lot of things I can share on mental health moment. I try my best, you all, for our at-home remedies. And sometimes that is just not enough, because we do sometimes hit that place of burnout, or we do sometimes hit that place of like severe, not even severe, but depression or anxiety, or, fill in the blank, something else. And we can't on our own get out of it. And that is okay if that's the case. So please seek a mental health professional if that's the case, right? Um, but I share those things with you because, again, it's so important that we start to, my favorite 3 things I always say, 3 questions I always say for you to ask yourselves often is, 1, how am I doing? Right? Are you checking in with yourself? Because when you really, and be honest with yourself, right? This is your conversation with yourself. So be honest with yourself when you ask yourself, how am I doing? Right? Like you might be like, this is the greatest week ever. I'm doing amazing. You might be like, I'm in a dark season. I'm so overwhelmed. I can't take it anymore. I need to, reach out to someone, a friend, mental health professional, someone at a place of worship, whomever, right? You need extra support, which is okay. Right? Or you may be like, yeah, you're doing all right. Like it's okay. Not doing great, not doing bad. Like just like, right. Like, but again, it's about asking ourselves, how are you doing, and making sure that you're checking in with yourself. Um, oh, someone said I'm just a few miles away in Stanford or Sanford. Oh, welcome. Tulsa in the Oklahoma's in the house. Mobile, Alabama's in the house. Louisiana, welcome. Thanks so much for joining here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. So So again, that's one question to make sure that you're asking yourself. The second question to ask yourself, especially, well, actually, ideally, you should ask yourself this every week, not even if you're having a great week, bad week, just to be in the practice of it, right? So, first, how am I doing? Secondly, is what do I need physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, in all the different areas of your life? If you think of, I wrote a whole book on this, you all, but if you think of self care holistically, right? If we really are trying to be better versions of ourselves, it can't just be one area of your life. It has to be in multiple areas of your life, right? To really bring out the healthiest version of you and the best version of you for you, because you got to live with yourself, and also for the people around you, right? So asking yourself, so again, the second question, hopefully weekly, is asking yourself, what do I need physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally? And then the third question to ask yourself is, what is it that I can do? Like, what small action can I do today to improve my life in those areas? And remembering that for you, you may say, okay, I'm at the point where I know I need to take the step to work on my level of self-awareness, which means I need to pay attention to myself more. You all, I can get on my soapbox, but we don't have 3 hours. Okay. There are 5 gazillion things that are out there in society to distract you from working on yourself. There are a million things out there that are distractions from you working on yourself. It is so critically important for you to be thinking about, how do I work on me? How do I work on my physical health, spiritual health, mental health, emotional health? How do you become better, right? And again, sometimes it's just baby steps, which is okay. But how it but it is very important of how you are being intentional, especially in a couple months, you all. We're in a new year, which is crazy, by the way. I'm like, wait, what? Somebody was saying today, like, it's almost 2026. And I was like, what? Like, that's crazy. But anyhow, we're almost in the new year, right? We're going to get into, in a couple months, this whole like new year, new me, which is great, great, great energy. But remember, you can have that all year long. Okay. You don't need to wait until December 31st. Like, what you're going to do for the next year, you can have it right now, today, right? You can have it any time of the year, to have that type of energy to say, okay, let me make sure that I'm working on me, right? New and improved me. That hopefully should be a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly thing. Like where you say, okay, let me work on continuing to improve myself, right? Good evening from Jersey. Welcome. Virginia's in the house. Welcome, welcome. Oh no, someone said I'm having the worst week of my life. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And it's just, oh gosh, we need more time. A mental health moment, because that is just a whole nother mental health moment, actually, about resilience. It is a real thing. I was just trying to think, 'cause I had a lot of conversations recently. I think, anyways, on one of the IG lives, we were just talking about resilience, and how actually it was, yeah, it was today, and how important it is for us to be working on our resilience to get through the adversity, because all of us at some times in our life, in different ways, we will be faced with adversity and the challenges and the trials and the tribulations. Like, it just is. However, the good news though is that there is a mindset that you can work on having to get to be more resilient, to be able to get through the adversity, to be able to push through mentally, to be able to tap into resources, because sometimes it's not a solo journey. It's like, hey, I need to reach out to my support system, whatever that looks like for you, to get through, right? um yeah, I'll just leave it at that, because like I said, we could talk for like 5 more hours on resilience. It's actually one of my favorite topics, I feel like, just because it just, oh, it's so, I've just heard many, many stories, and it's a really cool thing though when you really get into a resilient mindset. I'm not saying that you're invincible. Of course, we're humans, we have emotions, but like, it really, really, really helps you to get through some difficult things, to have that resilient mindset. So I wish that also for many of you. And it's a journey. Like I said, we're all at different places in our wellness journey, and it's all good. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap up here. Yes, for sure. But I'm gonna wrap up here. But I did want to share again, in case you're just now tuning in, you can always watch the replay on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page. But today we're talking about 3 signs to be looking for when you think about, okay, I need to have an emotional rest day. And what that looks like briefly, I'll just share as I'm wrapping up here. An emotional rest day is when you say, okay, and all of us are different, but what is it for you that you need to do to reset and recharge your emotions? So, it's interesting. For some people I've been talking to lately, they're like, I need to unplug. Like they are so stressed out from social media, all the stuff that we see on social media, and they're like, I need to unplug for my sanity. Like I've heard that recently, right? That may be what you need to say, I need to unplug in that way. Or you might need some type of mental health day where you're taking more deep breaths, you're being more mindful, meaning you're trying your best to live into the present moment, right? You're trying more relaxation techniques, you're trying to like get your mind and body relaxed, right? It may be that, or it may be something else that brings you joy. Nonetheless, the most important thing is, again, those 3 things that we talked about earlier. When you find yourself like starting to check more boxes, to think about, okay, hold on, let me not check all the boxes, or maybe all the boxes are checked. That's okay. Let me start to uncheck them, right? Let me try to get back into a healthier state of mind or frame of mind. Then you start to have those emotional rest days, right? And sometimes that's all you need, and sometimes it's way more than that, and that is okay wherever you're at. But it is important, regardless if you're in therapy, if you're not in therapy, or however your intervention, if you will, looks for you in your life, that you also have your own practices as well, right? For self care, for taking care of yourself. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap up with that because I feel like I could talk for like 5 hours on this issue, but I'll keep our mental health moment the normal around 20 or so minutes. Okay, so as I wrap up here, if you missed it in the beginning, I'll just share one more time that my growth mindset and self care summit that I'm hosting, super excited to be hosting in person this year in Atlanta, is going to be October 24th. You can register. We still have tickets. Early bird special is rapidly, I think, yes, I'm gonna tell the team tomorrow we're gonna do one more week because I think it was supposed to be October 1st, which is tomorrow. But I'm gonna extend it one more week, and then uh we have to increase the prices because because it'll be the end of the early bird special. Um, and tickets will not be sold at the door. But anyhow, October 24th in Atlanta, full day event. There should be, I believe, on the screen, because this is something new, a QR code. If not, it's mindsettrainingsummit.com. You can use the code BWE100 for $100 off your ticket. I hope to see you there. Also, if you didn't already know, I said it like I think a couple months ago, but Dr. Jackie King, who is the founder of this entire platform, Black Women Empowered Incorporated, she is also our honoree for this event. Just, of course, many of you already know her, but she's one of the most amazing human beings that I personally know. We will be honoring her with the Mindset Legacy Award. So I'm so excited to do that. I'm super excited to do that for her. So she'll be there as well. We'll be giving her that award, and I really hope that you guys can join. So again, mindsettrainingsummit.com is where you can go to grab your ticket while they're still available. And I will see you all next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here live on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. If you need me before that, social media, Dr. Nikisha Hammond, or website, drnikishahammond.com. Okay. All right. I'll see you guys next week. Be blessed. Have an amazing week. Think about all the things I said. I know it's a lot sometimes. Start to implement them into your life. Have a great week. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye, you guys.